I fell in love with music. You know, that music was just unabashedly emotional, and that's kind of what I was going for with this.
Susanna Hoffs' career has been intriguing to follow, from her days with the iconic Bangals to her solo adventures. Susanna Hoffs' current appearance has taken many admirers by surprise. Come along as we examine her life and her surprising career change. Early life. The flash and glamour of Hollywood was always there for Susanna Hoffs. She grew up in a privileged environment, being the daughter of a film director and a psychotherapist. But her childhood wasn't all opulence. It was a cultural tapestry with books everywhere and music everywhere. A touch of tradition came into their household since her mom maintained a kosher kitchen. Susanna loved to sing and play guitar when she was a small kid. She attended UC Berkeley to study painting, dance, and drama, and she lapped up all the arts. During my time as a college student in the Bay Area, punk rock and new wave were major musical trends. The pulsating intensity of these dances captivated Susanna, who felt an overwhelming need to express herself creatively via the arts. Susanna went back to her hometown of Los Angeles in 1981, armed with her newfound artistic degree, and she had the audacious notion to form a band. She broke it to her parents that she had no interest in a 9-to-5 job and instead wanted to be a rock star. She was so set on selling unwanted furniture and automobiles that she even ran an ad in a funny little weekly called The Recycler. The ad that altered Susanna's life also brought together Vicki Peterson, the lead guitarist, and another music lover who would go on to become the Bangals. Michael Steele on bass and Vicki's sister Debbie on drums were missing pieces to the musical jigsaw. The Bangals' 1984 first album, All Over the Place, sprang from its modest origins on a discarded piece of paper. It was disappointing because sales were not very high. Although it was well received by critics, sales were low. Next year, in 1986, they released Manic Monday, a song that none other than Prince had penned. It didn't take long for it to reach the top 2 on the US charts. Prince and Susanna Hoffs initially crossed paths in 1984. They became fast friends and spoke anytime they had a chance. Prince even made unexpected stage cameos at a few of their shows. When questioned about their cooperation, Hoffs said that Prince was completely enamored with their music video for Hero Takes a Fall. Hoffs was costumed as a French maid in the film, which Prince adored. Eventually, Hoffs got a message while she was in the studio. Prince happened to be recording close by and wanted to send her a song. Despite his hectic schedule, she managed to get a tape of Manic Monday before he departed. It seems out he had his own recording team do the session, thinking it was perfect for the Bangals. Meanwhile, did you hear? That man was absolutely correct. It seemed like the song was tailor-made for Hoffs and those words the second they performed them. Of all her songs, Susanna's favorite was Eternal Flame. She's talented in more than simply performing. She can also create songs. Once her naughty producer pulled a stunt on her for this song. He spilled the beans to her, claiming that Olivia Newton-John recorded an entire album while naked. Susanna thought that was funny and thought, maybe I should give that a try. She thought it may help her connect with the song's emotions, to make it more exposed and raw, like skinny swimming, but with music instead of nakedness. Having a good time and testing limits were her 2 favorite things in life. Now let's go on to another smash hit, Walk Like an Egyptian. Written by Susanna and her Bangles mates, that infectious song went viral in 1986. It topped the charts everywhere. Susanna has a natural talent for music. The mother was a filmmaker and screenwriter, while the father was a prominent figure in the fields of psychoanalysis and cinema. That artistic upbringing surely stoked Susanna's own flame. In addition to being a performer, she is also a composer. She demonstrated her abilities beyond only the Bangles by penning songs for other musicians as well. In the music video for Walk Like an Egyptian, Susanna Hoffs sports this seductive expression as she darts her eyes diagonally over the screen. It was totally unanticipated, as it turns out. Susanna subsequently confessed that she was only trying to relax by surveying the audience, but the moment turned out to be one of the most memorable in the film. Television director Marty Callner acknowledged its enchantment as well. You won't believe Susanna herself didn't recognize the significance of that little eye movement until much later, but according to him, it made Susanna sparkle like a light. All it demonstrates is how certain unplanned events become legendary without our knowledge or consent. Why were the Bangals a failure? In the 1980s, when the Bangals were at the height of their popularity, they were like a whirlwind, tossed about by a storm of joy and hardship. Participating in a band was similar to being a member of a large artistic family. They shared living quarters, journeys, and musical creations. If you spent every waking moment with your colleagues, how would you feel? Things weren't always going swimmingly. Some friction is inevitable when four brilliant minds are squeezed into a small space. In particular, the rivalry between Hoffs and the other members contributed to their disputes. Because Hoffs sang lead on the majority of their popular songs, people often mistakenly believed she was the lead singer. Steele and Vicki Peterson really went all out for their live performances, but in actuality, all four of them took turns on the mic. We must not overlook the fact that Prince was also observing Hoffs. Some even go so far as to say that his feelings for her were the driving force behind his decision to give her that legendary song. She later said in an interview that spending time with Prince was like being caught in a tornado of chaos when questioned about the claims. His method of communicating was so perplexing that it would make you wonder how on earth he managed to make you understand a word. His mysterious charisma fascinated and frightened her, she said. It was a fortunate match, she said, so she wasn't complaining about Prince's feelings for her. Getting out of the Bangals. Additionally, Hoffs considered quitting the Bangals. She came to terms with the fact that, despite their achievements, the music industry was like negotiating a treacherous sea rife with obstacles and rivalry. Still, seeing art as a contest was something she preferred not to think about. Hoffs sensed the need for a change as the 1980s came to a conclusion. She wanted a change after months and years of living on a tour van. She wanted to take flight, maybe establish a family, and explore other artistic territories. She wasted no time in jumping on the bandwagon when the Bangals split up in 1989. After meeting her husband, Jay Roach, in 1991, she had already given birth to 2 kids. However, her narrative didn't end there. Hoffs chose to go out on her own and try her hand at fiction writing. Despite the ups and downs of her life apart from the band, she has been writing tales since 1989. When You're a Boy, her first solo album, came issued in 1991, marking her official departure from the group. She showcased her incredible skill on this album, which was more like a musical voyage than anything else. A single from the album, My Side of the Bed, became an immediate sensation. The music just wouldn't leave your brain. On Someday, Susanna performed alone, and the mood was quite different from the energetic songs we know from the Bangals. The enchantment persisted even if it lacked poppy. Every touching tune evoked a sense of nostalgia, as she took influence from the cool sounds of the 60s. Happy returns to the Bangals. Something noteworthy occurred in 1999. Her husband, the film director, asked Susanna to reunite with the Bangals, and they did just that. The spark was kindled when they recorded the song Get the Girl for the Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me album. They didn't simply record a single track. In 2000, they embarked on a tour, and in 2003, they released an album collectively known as Doll Revolution. After all these years away, it felt like old friends getting together to make music. One of the founding members, Michael Steele, chose to depart from the band after their 2005 reunion. The Bangals discovered the brilliant musician Abby Travis to fill in on bass during their shows when they were traveling. Then, as a bonus for fans, the Bangals released Return to the Bangals, a live concert DVD that allowed you to enjoy the show without ever leaving your couch. After a long hiatus from 2009, the Bangals finally released their brand new original album, Sweetheart of the Sun, in 2011. However, it was far from the last surprise. An extra dose of enchantment to the Bangals' music came in 2016 when former member Annette Zinus returned to the group. Sustaining a healthy work-life balance. the attention must now return to Susanna Hoffs. She has achieved a lovely equilibrium between her professional life and her love of music, despite her busy job. She says that her family is the thing that keeps her going, giving her the strength to perform her heart out. In addition to being a legendary musician, Susanna is a strong voice for female musicians and music business professionals. She has worked for more equality and opportunity for women in the arts by participating in initiatives that aim to empower female artists. She is revered by many for her unwavering commitment to this cause. Susanna used to have a successful acting career until she discovered her calling. She is well known for her work in film and television in addition to her musical skills. Fans of the 80s and 90s may know her from her recurrent role on the TV show Beverly Hills 90210 in the early 90s, or from her appearances in films such as The All-Nighter and The Haircut. Her primary emphasis is music, although she has never abandoned her acting career. But it wasn't simple to go into a new artistic realm. She endured the tedium of scripts mired in what she dubbed development hell. It wasn't until she was in her 50s that she finally wrote the proper book she had always wanted to write, spurred on by a subtle prod from her son Jackson, who had reminded her of her long-standing goal. She jumped headfirst into writing, and the result was the delightful book This Bird Has Flown. Like its protagonist Susanna, This Bird Has Flown is a charming romantic comedy set in the gorgeous English city of Oxford. The story is rife with musical allusions and parallels to classic literature, such as Jane Austen's works. The protagonist of the book, Jane Starr, is a little Jewish woman who loves books and music. She had a successful career when she was younger, but now she has to perform bachelor parties in Las Vegas just to get by. Classic literature, Jane's narrative, and the seductive charm of film noir all come together in this fascinating novel, transporting readers to a realm where popular culture and musical history meet. There is a wealth of familiar allusions in every chapter that will bring a grin to your face. You can even jam out to a custom Spotify playlist while reading, and each chapter is titled after a song that served as an inspiration for the plot. Fame and money aren't the only themes in Jane's narrative. Despite the success of her single, she struggles with heartbreak and unmet expectations until she meets her soulmate on a blind date. Author Susanna Hoffs had a number of brief relationships with well-known figures including Michael J. Fox and Donovan Leitch, the gifted son of the legendary folk singer from the 1960s. Jane, the protagonist in Susanna's book This Bird Has Flown, reflects Susanna's ebb and flow of love. At the age of 33, Jane is devastated following a contentious breakup with a Hollywood producer. She longs for a second opportunity to reignite her romance and her career in music, as if life had slipped away from her. Susanna freely confesses that she finds it soothing to revisit the 1980s and incorporate her recollections into Jane's tale, getting inspiration from her own prior experiences. Love, grief, and classic tunes all come together in this epic adventure. Hoffs' fifth solo album, Deep End, showcased her everlasting enthusiasm for music and narrative. It was released only 3 days after the publication of This Bird Has Flown on April 4, 2023. And that's not all. Susanna is penning the script for the book, and Universal Pictures has already acquired the rights to adapt it for the big screen. We should preface our discussion of her life at 65 by saying that she is not worried about her age. She says, "I don't want to waste my energy." She continues, "It's really nice to not be focused on every new wrinkle and just go with it. I like to think about all the positives." It's interesting since you can't tell her age just by looking at her. She has never been one to seek plastic surgery or Botox, but she manages to appear years younger. Her secret, it appears, is a combination of wonderful genes, a clean lifestyle, and a creative spirit that never dies. The first book by Susanna Hoffs was just completed. She really embodies an attitude of thankfulness. Filmmaker Jay Roach has been her spouse for 30 years, and she adds, "I just try to go to a place of gratitude that I've gotten this far, and I get to be doing a thing that I love and be around people that I love." Her loved ones include her kids, siblings, close friends, and extended family. She gushes about his feminist views and was amazed by his knowledge of equality and related topics when they first met. In their family, supporting one another is paramount. They have brought up two feminist children who are very kind and considerate. Although Susanna is reticent to claim credit, she is really proud of it. While we're on the subject of Jay, Susanna brought up their everlasting love. According to her, "We're very fond of each other, obviously, and love each other, but we also support each other's work. It's like a beautiful relationship." They collaborate by sharing drafts, providing criticism, and offering encouragement. What a lovely thing. Her sobriety has increased. Susanna has cut off alcohol entirely, which is an intriguing development. Yeah, she's been clean for a decade and a half. She was just curious about the effects of a wine-free lifestyle, as she enjoys it so much, and had no problems whatsoever. She doesn't partake in wine drinking, but rather prefers watching movies or TV series in binges with a large bowl of popcorn. She sees it as her method of self-care. She claims that her first book was a direct result of her decision to stop drinking. Now that she was free from distractions, she could fully immerse herself in storytelling. All it proves is that sometimes all it takes to start a new experience is a little alteration. As far as I can tell, Susanna Hoffs is quite adept at staying current. Her current project, which combines nostalgic moments from her Bangals days with updates on her music, books, and pop culture comments, has been receiving a lot of positive feedback from fans on social media. She has been giving some serious thought to her situation after seeing all those earlier performances on film. She claims, "I look at videos and footage from tours and interviews and such, and I think I have always been the same person." It's as if she's been really herself throughout this trip. At her core, Susanna remains the same, even if she may have been more feisty and less polished in those days. She still has her moments of uncertainty despite all her achievements. She acknowledges, "For the most part, I felt empowered going on stage and rocking out with my electric guitar, but there's always that nagging feeling in the back of my mind. Am I good enough? Will people still care now that I'm in my 60s? Susanna has a spirit of rebellion. If you ask her, I simply say I don't care. I'm going to make art until I can't make it any longer. You have to give it to her for not allowing your age or other people's expectations get in the way of your success. For the rest of her life, she intends to keep making music and performing." Susanna Hoffs has kept the music alive while being loyal to herself, leaving very little to the imagination. How do you think Susanna Hoffs handles the challenges of aging gracefully while still following her dreams? Put your 2 cents in the comment box. We're all ears. If you would want to get information about new videos, be sure to subscribe. Keep watching for further updates.